everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you another page in my Serenity Junk Journal that I made at the beginning of the year with the intention of getting a little serenity in my life by working in it every morning, soothing myself that way. Uh, Working on it, not working on it every morning. Also, I've been doing these 100 days of Stencil Girl, at least I did till about day 50, I think. And I have a lot of these stenciled bits, and I thought it would be fun to use some in my junk journal. And when I was opening the pages, I flipped to this one that has a postcard of a city. And that is what inspired my idea of using this. I think they were probably stenciled and then colored with gel sticks. So this would be a page that has gel sticks, collage, stencil stuff, and stamps. So that's what I used on these pages. So this postcard's just stuck there, and then it's got some kind of junky paper bits that I used, when I made this junk journal, and I can go ahead and put in the iCard where I made this junk journal, I think, or at least one like it. It's sewn in signatures into a recycled cookie box or something like that, with junk from my desk. Literally just cleaned off the piles off my desk, folded them all in half, made them into signatures, and sewed them in here. So the paper in this journal is junk. It's like stuff that you would throw away. So you do have to do a little bit of care with it. Sometimes it's separating, sometimes, almost all the time, you need to put a layer of gesso or something. So I decided to put black gesso. And this black gesso is from Americana Deco Arts, and it's really dried up almost. I mean, the bottle's full, but it's chunky and clunky and gross. But I went ahead and used it anyway because I wanted to put some black gesso on. And then the next layer, of course, is the stenciled bit. This stencil is from Stencil Girl Products, designed by Chris Cozen, and it's called Building Perspective Italy. So you can see once you look at it, once your brain, solves the puzzle of the lines, that it's buildings in a city as if you were looking up. So how do you integrate that into something, right? I mean, it's cool, but do you just use the lines as a pattern, or do you really think about buildings? And of course, since I had the other side has these buildings in a city, then of course this is going to be about city buildings. And another theme that's been going on in my life lately is escape. I want to go somewhere. I want to get out of here. I guess maybe because it's summer and also just the stresses in my life. I really wished I could go somewhere. I'm not going to be able to do that because of, people in my life having medical stuff. I'm not going to be able to go anywhere, but I sure would like to escape. Although I am going for a little short weekend for a class coming up real soon. I think that I'm leaving on the 29th to take a class with Mary Beth Shaw from Stencil Girl Products, who manufactured this stencil. Not Mary Beth specifically, but her company. So the next thing I did after I glued down this piece, now this piece was stenciled in black on a piece of tissue paper that had some writing, like it's printed tissue paper that has script on it, right? It's flipped over, so the script isn't very dark, but it is on there. And then stenciled probably with black gesso, and then the buildings were given some color with King Art gel sticks, similar to gelato, similar to Marabou art crayons, similar to, it's a smooth, easy to blend color. So that's what I stuck on there with some Yoo-hoo glue stick. And then to continue the pattern, but to still allow some of that other picture to show through, I just laid the stencil in the opposite direction. So I flipped it the other way, because you can have the stencil either way, right? It doesn't matter which side you use. And then I used a black Posca pen to draw around the lines to kind of continue that pattern, but not cover it up, because if I do have a couple other pieces that I made when I was working with this stencil, but I don't want to cover up the city in the background. I don't want it to be prominent. I don't really want you to be able to tell what city it is. If I just left it the way it was, you could tell what city it was. But I covered up the major landmark. So um, then I have this calendar that I got from a group of artists who made it in January, and it was a limited production. It has little tear-off pieces, but then those little pieces can be used as pattern paper. So you basically are getting 365 pieces of pattern paper that are probably 2.5 by 3.5, maybe. That's probably the size. And they have the dates on them, which I don't really want to use, but I tore a couple of them off. I'm not doing good about tearing them off every day or even looking at them every day, so it's kind of a waste for me. The idea was that you'd look at the pattern, the pretty art, mixed media or whatever on there, and say, "Oh, look at that," and then tear it off, and maybe save them in a basket for use later. I rarely tear them, so I went and I looked for a couple of them and I grabbed them. And they don't have buildings on them, but they have the right colors and some shapes that are reminiscent of that kind of window type shape of a frame around something. I tore the one that had a circle and I put it up in the kind of sky area on the left hand side, because I like there to be, when I'm doing like a landscapey type thing or a cityscapey type thing in this case, I like there to be a sun. Of course, it's a black sun, so I'm not sure what that means, but it is the right shape and it's the right color, and it brings that orange color from the right hand side over to the left hand side of the spread, which was another intention. And then I kind of broke up the black along the bottom. That was just gesso, where the page had been white. I turned it black. I broke that up at the bottom with some of these other little pieces. Then I took some stamps and stamped a key and a crown, kind of signifying that your home is your castle. You would have a crown, even if you live in a small apartment in the city, still your castle, right? That's your place. It's it's your place. So that would be your castle idea. And then also a key, like of course unlocking. So then I brought back in the King Art gel sticks and I started adding some color. I added some color on the left hand side where there was kind of a sunset type color in the sky. I made the buildings and stuff kind of blend into that. And then I pumped up some of the color that was already on the piece that I'd made earlier. It had orange, and I put an orangey red to really make that color more interesting. And then I did the same thing with the purpley pink and the I don't know, peach color. And also that kind of helps me integrate those little collage pieces that I stuck on there, because oftentimes when you tear paper, depending on if you're paying attention or not, you can tear it away from yourself and not have a white edge. But if you tear it towards yourself, like we most often do, because we're looking at our hands and trying to tear along us, we don't want to, if we want something from the paper to be left, we want to tear along the edge, and so we tend to tear towards ourselves, and that makes a white edge. So I could blend that the gel stick goop color over those edges and blend in the white edges. So the gel sticks are really great for that type of stuff, integration and loose coloring. They're not pointy, so you can't color that with them like a pen or a pencil. They have a more bigger, like a lipstick kind of, only without the angle. And they're that consistency too. Then I brought in a white Posca pen and added some highlights to some of the lines and continued some of the lines because some of the lines got cut off at the bottom, and I like the angular lines of the stencil design. I think it's really cool. So I just wanted to continue them to the bottom or top where they should be. I put some ink around the edges because I just wanted to darken all the edges of the page. Now, because this is a junk journal, everything is a different size. And so some of the stuff that's behind that hasn't been worked on yet, like that hot tamales box, it shows through. When I finish those pages, then it will look different. And you can also see a finished page peeking up at the top with a flower on it. And so it's something to think about when you're junk journaling, like what is going to be showing from behind. You notice that the colors are similar on the page I just did to the color in the background. So, I mean, I didn't think super hard about it, but I did think about it. So then the last thing I did was to add the words city escape, with the idea that maybe this is where I live from the city, in the city, and I want to escape it, or maybe I want to escape to a city somewhere else. But either way, the idea of, getting out, going somewhere else, getting away from my place and seeing something else was kind of the theme. I hope you've enjoyed this junk journal page. If you have, please remember to give me a comment, or if you have a question about junk journaling or making your own journal, or why do I do this? What is this for? What is the purpose? Any of those type of questions, feel free to leave them as a comment below. Also, you can subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notifications. And of course, you can join channel membership if you would like to. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.